In this video, I'm continuing with my Halloween coffee bar decor DIYs. If you remember, I was using the Addams family as this year's inspiration for the coffee bar, but I believe the decor DIYs I have for you today would not only please Granny Frump, but also Winifred herself. It's just a bunch of hocus pocus is the name of this playlist. My name is Leah, and this is JunkerNecker DIY, where I bring you new budget decor videos every week. If you're new here, let me tell you just a little about my channel. I love doing thrift flips, Dollar Tree DIYs, and trash to treasure projects. I also share shopping hauls with you from time to time. If those things interest you, please subscribe. Every witch needs a familiar, or a black cat. So that's what I'm making here with something I purchased at Goodwill for 99 cents. I'll be covering up those white patches on the face and chest with some apple barrel paint in the color black. This is an acrylic paint. And I just took a small brush so I wouldn't get it in the eyes. I'm trying to save those eyes. Everything else is going to be black, the nose and the mouth included. Already looking much better. Once it dried, the paint is matte and I knew it would need some touch-ups. I'm going to use Mod Podge in gloss to cover up what I just painted to try and make it look like the rest of the cat that's glossy. And here is Binks the cat sitting on the top of my coffee bar. Today's playlist is being hosted by Devin from the channel Freckled Mom DIY and Ellie from the channel DIY from House to Home. I'll be leaving links to both their channels in the descriptions, along with a link for the playlist for It's Just a Bunch of Hocus Pocus. I got these foam sparkly skulls a while back, and I put them on my coffee bar in a beaker, and it really just looks like white pom-poms. So I'm going to be mixing those with some of the bag of bones and some Halloween ribbon I already had in my stash to make a garland. I'm reusing the twine from my skeleton garland where I cut all the skeletons off, and I'm going to use sort of a pattern, 2 of the bones and 1 skull. 2 of the bones, 1 skull. Then I'm going to come back in between some of those and use some ribbon to give it just a little pizzazz of color. Now that ribbon I bought in a grab bag at a thrift store for 99 cents. So both those rolls of ribbon together didn't cost me more than 25 cents. Okay, when I got to the end of my twine, I had used 11 of the 12 skulls, but I had quite a few of those bones still left over. So I went back and put 3 bones in between, here and there, where it looked like it needed some space filled. Then I'm going to continue here. When this is all done, I'll be back showing you how I tied the ribbon on. I'm going to be cutting the ribbon in 12-inch pieces. And I'm going to put the ribbon back to back. Hopefully that will give me something with visual interest on both sides. So what I'm doing, if you know anything about macrame, this is called a lark's head knot. What I did was just make a loop and flip those pieces through. Of course, I snip those ends at a slant. I'm going to try to let you see how I do that here. I put them back to back, and where the white is more prominent on that ribbon, I'm going to make the orange more prominent here by making sure it's the ribbon on the top. And it goes together like so. And here it is on my coffee bar. I really love how this turned out. I'm going to be using some of the plastic champagne glasses from Dollar Tree that have the skeleton hands holding them. And I thought about using some of those metal words, but scratched that idea at the end. What I'm doing is adding some flag red acrylic paint from Apple Barrel. And I'm just going to swirl it around in the glasses and let it run down. Now, I had hoped this would dry darker than what it actually did. It really turns out to be too bright of a red. So, how do I fix that? Well, I'm going to come in with some Tuscan red and a dropper, and I'm going to make a line on the top of that other red. You'll see in just a moment what I'm talking about. And I'm just going to let that run down. I'll swirl it to get somewhat of a line, and then I'm going to let it run down into the cup. And then finally I turn it upside down to dry. And it did have quite a bit run out, but it adds to the spooky element, I think. Now the last thing I do is take some of these rose tea lights, and I'm going to take that rose off so it fits in the glass better. The reason I wanted these tea lights is because they flash different colors, and I want this to look like a poisonous drink, ready for someone to grab and meet their doom. I think they turned out really great. And here's how they look in the dark. Ooh, poisonous, spooky. I've been wanting one of these Black Hat Society signs for the last couple of years, and I finally got my hands on one this year. But it looks too new for the aesthetic I'm going for with the coffee bar, so I'm going to distress it down, so to speak. I'm going over it with some ivory colored chalk paint by Waverly, and I was going to try to sort of dry brush over that, but I did go a little too heavy in spots, and you'll see what it looks like when I'm done. Well, I'm not done yet, but when I've finished with the paint. Now I'm coming in with my sanding block, and what this is doing is basically removing all the chunky glitter that was on it and getting down to the bare bones, so to speak, of the sign. See, the wording still shows up, but not as much as before. Now I'm going to come in with some antique wax from Folk Art and brush that over. I really want the look of this sign being super old because the club was started in the 1600s, was it not? So I need to weather this down a whole lot. Now I do realize I lost some of the detail, so I'm coming in with a permanent black marker and just outlining some of those areas where I needed to add some of the detail back in, such as the broom, and just outlining some of those letters. The last thing I do is add some beads on the twine that's holding them on, and I'm just reusing some from my summer strand that I had that looked like bees. I'm going to use some black and a couple of white. And I'm loving that Dollar Tree has stopped using knots and added those little aglet things on the signs. twine on the sign. It makes it so much easier to reuse the twine. The last thing I have to share is just some ways of using thrifted items on your coffee bar. I purchased the one on the left for 79 cents and added 4 packs of the eyeballs from Dollar Tree. And the one there in the center, I paid $1.99 for it and added some pumpkins. The wood pumpkin to the far right is one that I got from my sister, and the skeleton spider is Dollar Tree. I hope you liked today's video, and if you did, let me know by leaving me a thumbs up. Until next time, bye-bye.